Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It's G. Bush. Today, we got a great show planned for you. We'll let you know, Dillon Gabriel, coming off a bye week. Are we going to see him live his best life ever? We'll think about it. We'll talk to you later. Jason.
There's a new cook in the kitchen. I'm Jason Lloyd, and Tommy Rees will be calling the plays and whipping up the meal on Sunday. But he's got the same rotten ingredients on the offense, so I don't know if it's going to taste any different, but we'll find out. Dustin.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dustin. And no need watching the game this weekend because we already know what's going to happen, and we're going to give you the headlines early.
Plus, if the Browns lose this game, will it all come crumbling down? Will this be the last straw that breaks the camel's back and have some of the veterans quit on Cleveland if they can't beat the lowly Jets?
I think you ask that every week.
Yeah, that's
you know what?
Part of the, yeah.
We're going to keep asking if they keep losing and the coach does not have any long-term security. But let's start with the quarterback, guys. Coming off a bye week, 2 full weeks to prepare. In theory, this should be the best version of Dillon Gabriel we've seen yet. But G. Bush, do you believe it will be? Or am I talking myself into results that probably will not come to fruition?
I mean, it looked good. I mean, they always tell you, quarterbacks, and you come off the bye week, you got 2 weeks of preparation. You're going to have an opportunity to hear a new signal caller in your ear. And I'm sure Tommy Rees has 3 plays in his back pocket that's cooked up, ready to go for Dillon Gabriel. The problem is, boys and girls, it's Dillon Gabriel's Dillon Gabriel. The receivers are the receivers. The offensive line still is the offensive line. And if I look at this game, Dillon coming off a bye week, should he look better? Of course. Should he be more comfortable in offense? Yes. But given what I've saw so far, I can't put my foot down. I can't stand on that business. I don't think Dillon is going to be particularly super terrible, but throwing for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no. You did a Finch Rider question. You said, will Dillon Gabriel throw for over 200 yards? And I reluctantly said yes, but that's only because I had him at 202 yards, Jason. Your thoughts on Dillon? Should he be balling this week, and what do you expect to see him against the Jets?
Well, they got an extra week to prepare. They're going against a bad football team, and they're going against a bad football team that just traded away their 2 best defensive players. He better have his best version, and I don't even know if his best version is good enough, but if the question is this going to be the best version, you would hope so. I feel like he's regressed every week. The more tape that teams get on him, I feel like the worse he's played. I thought the best he's looked was Minnesota in that London game, and it's just sort of slipped a little bit every week since. So we'll see with Tommy. I know we're going to get to that in a minute, but if they get back to trying to establish the run, if Tommy sticks with the run, we've felt like Kevin has gotten away from the run a little bit at times. If they move the pocket a little bit more, that was always sort of the plan with Dillon. We haven't seen very much of it. I think the line play has a lot to do with it. So, yes, I do think this will be the best version of Dillon, but if we're being honest, it's been a pretty low bar to this point.
It is a very low bar, but I would say that it has to be the best version we've seen of Dillon Gabriel thus far, and the reason being, we're coming off a bye week. They made a change with the play caller to Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees spends a ton of time with Dillon Gabriel on a daily basis, but he doesn't get to call the plays on Sundays. So now he does. Now, I would say that nobody knows the strengths better than Tommy Rees in terms of Dillon Gabriel, what he can and cannot do, his limitations and his strengths. So he better play well. As Jason pointed out, they're playing an atrocious Jets team that just had a fire sale. They got rid of everybody. They're not a great defensive team. Our defense should absolutely stifle that offense. So we should have good field position. There should be opportunities for him to make some plays in this game, and I expect the Browns to win this game.
Yeah, we'll see what the headlines that we came up with behind the scenes. We'll let you know who we think is going to win this football game. But this is a game that is a very winnable game. The second that the Jets traded away all their people, all their pieces and parts, this was a game that now we're going to look at for the Cleveland Browns that went from, okay, they can compete, to now if you go out here and you don't look very good, there's going to be some major questions. Take a look at what they're doing. I saw a stat somewhere that said that the Cleveland Browns are dropping back, throwing the ball the most out of any team in an NFL with the third-round quarterback that's starting as a rookie. I think Tommy Rees has to, especially on the road, give Quinshon Judkins the football, do some different things, and make it a little easier. And then the big thing with Dillon is, how do you find explosives? How do you find the plays downfield to keep the defense honest? And I think that's what I'll be looking for in the game that's going to be really closely contested.
Is this the first time the Browns have been favored this year? I guess against Miami, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were favored against Miami. That is correct.
Is that it? Was
Yes.
that the only game? So this is
I
the
think
second
so.
game?
Miami, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
God.
That's crazy. The fact
We're in
that-
November, and this is the second time they've been favored in a game all year.
Yeah, we talked about it on the YouTube show a little bit, Jason. You said, we Dustin, we talked about it. Either this is going to start the clock ticking, where you're like, okay, what type of time we got? How many more quarters are we going to see him play? You should go one or two ways. If he comes out and looks pretty good, it's going to keep people at bay a little bit in terms of saying, hey, we want to see Shedeur Sanders, because if you can come out and get a winnable football game, they start counting the games and say, okay, we got the Raiders. He could look good that game. We got a couple other games that might work. But we'll talk about it later in the show, too. If it looks bad or as bad as it did against the Patriots, at some point, people are going to start to say, well, tick, 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 McNuggets.
Yeah, guys, Tommy Rees is taking over play calling duties. We kind of dissected this in different aspects earlier in the week, but I asked you guys to come up with one tangible thing you think we'll see more of or we'll see differently with Tommy Rees calling the plays as opposed to Kevin Stefanski. Jason, you want to start us off? What is one tangible thing you believe we'll see more of with Tommy Rees calling the shots this weekend?
Well, there's two. I think that they're going to commit to the run game. I hope they're going to commit to the run game a little bit more. And I also wonder if they're going to get back to running some of the boots and move in the pocket that I thought we would see more of with Dillon that we really haven't seen to this point. A lot of it to this point has just been 3-step drop, 5-step drop, stay in the pocket and throw. I think defenses are trying to keep Dillon in the pocket. I think it's up to the Browns. I know they've had awful tackle play. It's up to the Browns, to try and create better passing lanes for him by moving the pocket and getting some boots and some rollouts and some things that he's comfortable calling. So I'm going to go with that ultimately, although I do think they're going to run the ball a little bit more.
I think you're going to see a lot more of the things that Dillon Gabriel did in college at Oregon and the other 100 places he was at. In terms of the RPO game, you're going to see some quarterback run, moving the pocket like Jason just said. Those are the things that I think Dillon Gabriel can do well. He's not going to do well at sitting back there in the pocket and frankly, even the normal standard play action passes, that's not really his strength either. He's not a pro style quarterback. He is I don't want to call him like a gimmick quarterback, but like a lot of quarterbacks in colleges now are like this guy.
Yeah.
And they're used to a certain scheme. Well, Tommy Rees has spent a lot of time in college, guys. So why the heck would we not lean on his strengths? Knowing what these guys do well and how to put them in position. Now, listen, it's only been a week. I don't expect them to change the entire offense up in just a matter of days, but they're going to get to some of those principles that I just mentioned, I think, relatively early. And Kevin Stefanski talked about it this week as well. He said they've got to be better on 1st and 10. There's way too many 3rd and longs, so 1st and 2nd down are priority plays to put yourself in 3rd and 5 or less.
Yep.
Yeah. I like what you said, and because Tommy Rees has been in a college game, this is a great opportunity to break tendency. This is a great opportunity. There's no film on Tommy Rees. There's no film on what he might do in the NFL. You have an opportunity, and some of your players are younger, the Judkins, the Fannons, some of those guys. Those guys have been in college. They understand what some of the concepts are. So let's go ahead. You guys are really good at scripting your first 15 plays or so. We think the Cleveland Browns may have an opportunity to get some points there. But keep another 15 somewhere. Give me another 15 that's the college book. Give me another 15 with Oregon. And you come out in the second half and you got a whole nother 15 scripted plays. If you can get 7 there, and the defense wins the football game, and then you can kind of tread water in the middle, you got an opportunity to beat a team in the Jets that is not very good, and you got a defense that should shut them out. So listen, this is a game where you can really start to break tendencies. You can really have guys on defense for the Jets trying to figure out what you're doing and getting to. And I think you can steal some points in the first half with this type of game plan.
You mentioned the defense, G. Let's get to that next. I'll keep it simple. Is there any excuse for this Browns defense, not to dominate this Jets offense, which has struggled mightily this season?
No. They should dominate, but the tricky part about this is the Browns defense has the ability to dominate and still lose the game. They can go out here and play very well, get off the field, but it may be one or two plays that score points. Maybe the Browns offense gives up a short field. They get some points. Maybe there's a turnover that ends up in points. But we had a safety, and we almost had a pick six last game. So these are points that are going to offense, or the special teams may not hit a field goal or do some things like that or give up a return on a score. These are all things that can hinder your defense. So the Browns defense is going to play the way they're playing. They've been solid for the most part of the year. Myles Garrett came out and had a career day, 5 sacks. They're going to, for the most part, do what they do. It's up to the Browns offense and special teams to play complementary football to give them an opportunity to win the football game. And if they can do that, they can win a game like they did against the Miami Dolphins, where they play to those strengths, don't give up the ball, and lean on the running game, and the defense can show up and do some things.
I would say that the Browns should dominate the Jets offense. They have limited explosive players on offense. They have kind of a bottom tier pass protection group up front. Mm-hmm. They've got a quarterback that, if you take away his first read, he struggles. Mm-hmm. He is mobile and he can run and he can do some things with his legs. But overall, I see no reason why the Browns shouldn't be able to dominate this game. The only way that they don't win this game and dominate defensively is if they beat themselves with penalties, bad angles, poor tackling, things like that, the fundamental things that you would expect this team to do well, because they typically do well in those areas. So I absolutely think this should be a game where Justin Fields should probably throw a pick. The Browns should at least have maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 turnovers in the game. And if they do that, you make it easier on Tommy Rees and Dillon Gabriel.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It's the last thing that you said for me. They don't have to dominate them. The Jets can dominate themselves. Like, the Jets just aren't very good offensively. It's the creating turnovers. How did they beat Green Bay? A massive turnover by Jordan Love in the fourth quarter that kickstarted everything. How they beat Miami, forced a bunch of turnovers. That's the key.
Score on defense.
Yeah. If you don't score, set them up. Give them a short field. Give the offense a short field. That's the best way to win this game. It's not so much the yardage necessarily. I don't think the Jets are going to put a ton of points up, but it's just being able to create opportunities for a really bad Browns offense as well, turn them over deep in their own end. Special teams play a big return. Something in the defensive special teams play that gives this offense a jump is how you win this game.
Hey, man, jumping out to a fast start I think is going to be pivotal. You get 10 points on a team like this, you can make them quit. They done traded their best 2 players. They can start feeling sorry for themselves and say, well, here we go again. This is what do you expect? Hey, we got rookies walking down the field on us. Dillon Gabriel. If Dillon Gabriel was eating you up, you got people going to be on the sideline in their feelings a little bit. Get out to a quick start. Get some points on the board. Play from ahead and let Myles Garrett and get after guys that they have to throw the ball, and then down the distance is manageable. Understand it as predictability. If they can do that, the Browns have an opportunity to win this football game, and they better.
They better, G. And that gets us into our next topic, which is if somehow the Browns fumble this game, they lose to the Jets, who have made it abundantly clear they are not trying to win this season. They just traded Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, their 2 best defensive players. You've been in locker rooms. Dustin, you've been in NFL locker rooms. Jason, you've covered locker rooms and have been around guys at the highest of high levels. Is this the kind of game that if the Browns were to lose, they dropped to 2-7 on the season, playoffs division completely out of the picture, that some veterans might be starting to turn their attention to Cancun and off-season plans as opposed to the final 8 games of the season?
I think that if they lose this game and it doesn't go well for them, all those little ancillary pieces that have been put aside, or those veteran players, as you mentioned, Mikey, maybe start to think about 1, 2, 3 Cancun. It would be a very frustrating situation for this team, especially when you made all these changes. DePodesta was not let go, but he decided to leave. the organization and go to the Rockies. Play calling was moved from Stefanski to Tommy Rees. There won't be any finger pointing in the media because that's not how they roll, and you respect that. But internally, I think those things will certainly be talked about. There'll be whispers and rumors and things that Jason will hear, and the other media folks will start to hear from the locker room, and you'll start to see some things. Guys will stop staying late after practice. They won't be getting the extra jugs machines in and all that stuff. And yeah, it'll be a rough, as Zach Jackson always likes to say, kind of a death march in December, and then another December in Berea.
Yeah, it's tough, Jason, because what Dustin said is correct. You know, they'd already moved the clocks back. It's getting dark at like 4 o'clock now.
Oh man, it's called the Ohio Depression.
I walk outside. It's been a beautiful summer. We had great weather. I'm like, dang, it's already dark. People are gonna start looking at that watch, being like, man, I'm cool. I get my ice bag to go, Dustin. You know, instead of getting there, getting that stem treatment, being in the hot
Or not
tub.
even get the ice bag.
No, just roll out.
Just roll out. Screw it.
Guys, you don't see guys with the door open watching an extra film. And then you start to have the guys that are really affected, which are the young dudes. And you got a lot of young players on this team that, you know, are big parts of what you guys are trying to do. And if they're seeing that, it becomes a depressing feel. And like we said earlier in the YouTube show, the season ain't almost over. There's 8 more games, man. This
half the year.
There's a half the year left. And some of them teams you playing at the end of December, it could get real nasty out here, Jason, if you're doing that.
Yeah, I think some of the defensive players probably have already checked out on the head coach, if that's the question. Could Stefanski lose the locker room? I think there's already defensive guys that are fed up and disgusted because of the shape of the offense. He has not lost the offensive players, though. Look at it this week. Wyatt Teller came out and said, please don't trade me. I don't want to go anywhere. Do you say that if you don't like the head coach you want to be? David Njoku pulled a Wolf of Wall Street and said, I ain't leaving.
Oh, he said,
I ain't leaving.
He posed a sit-in. I said, David, he's like, I'm not turning my key card in.
These are not veterans on offense who have checked out on this team. How much more evidence do you need? And the young guys on offense, I just don't think they know any better. Now,
or are they comfortable losing?
That's the dangerous part. The dangerous part is if the infection gets into them when they're young and they don't. Or you talk about the veterans, David and
everyone, but the veterans specifically. Like David Njoku's got it's a contract year for him, so obviously he wants to make some more plays.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't know that the Browns get worked extra hard or in practice and things like that.
Nobody does anymore.
So it's kind of a cushy job.
But of course, you're making $17 million a year, 18 or whatever it is these guys are pulling in. But if you were in an unhappy environment, if you wanted out of here, I don't think you would come out and say the things that Wyatt and David said. I actually think they should sign both of them to an extension, and I've kind of come around on that. I wasn't sure about David because he
looks slow this year.
He's a little slower. He's a little heavier. He's getting a little bit older. But you need guys who want to be here. You need veterans who set the right tone in the locker room. And right now, the Browns' 2 highest paid players both said, I don't want to be here. And ownership said, yes, you do. I'll just keep adding zeros till I change your mind. That is not the way you build a culture in the NFL.
No. And we're looking at it like this. You do need somebody to make some plays. David Njoku, we would be welcome for you to make those plays this week. And to get an evaluation from some of these rookies, you see Dillon Gabriel, you see Shedeur Sanders, and it may be a situation where you need some of these dudes to make some plays for you, McNuggets.
They need a lot of guys to make plays. We've talked about this in the YouTube show. We've talked about it all week. This offense has been putrid. I asked the question in the YouTube show, who's poised for a breakout season? And the answers we got were the punter. So just think about that. So, yeah, there are a lot of players who can step up and play better in the second half. I'll just keep going back to this. And D3 basketball is not the NFL, but I remember my sophomore year we lost to a team that we had no business losing to and essentially eliminated us from playoff contention. And we were like, all right, still have half a season to play, but it's a moot point. It's a useless, futile effort. And I can only imagine guys who are making millions of dollars and they're putting their bodies on the line in a significantly different way than I did, feeling the exact same way if they were to lose to a Jets team that has actively said, we're trying to lose.
This is the number 1 pick bowl right here, fellas. This is the number 1 pick.
if you want someone else who's having a good year, that long snapper's been on point all year long.
Man, I ain't seen him miss yet.
There's been some good snapping going on.
Man, listen, what is a good time on special teams? You know, they time it in practice.
Yeah,
we need this 1.2. Snap the kick. We ready to go, man. Well, we almost ready to go. We'll tell you coming up here a little bit, our pre-written headlines. Is anybody going to be crazy enough to pick the Browns to beat the Jets? You might be surprised here, people, on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. One of my favorite segments is pre-written headlines. We get the crystal ball out and tell you what's going to happen before it happens. Has anybody been crazy enough to pick the Cleveland Browns? And you know, I've been going crazy. I've been telling people, man, I'm not picking the Browns until the Browns show me something. And even though they didn't show me something, I've switched up. Yes, G. Bush. The Browns are bad, but not that bad, right? Gabriel still doesn't look the part, but pulls off an ugly 17-12 win against the Jets in New York. I don't think, Jason, that they can be this bad. They cannot come off a bye week and look this nasty.
You got a safety
and not
or
win.
4 field goals?
I got 4 field
All
goals,
right.
4 Phillies, right?
All right.
4 field goals. I didn't even have them being a safety, right? Let's see if you got them winning.
Yeah, this is one of the games I had circled before the trades. This is a very winnable game, and they better win it. So I came up with Browns need a little bit of jet fuel. Quinnen Judkins touchdown propels Browns 17-14 win over New York. All the things we talked about throughout the show. I think the Jets are kind of a defeated franchise right now after their top 2 players were traded on them defensively. I think the Browns win this game on the road, get their 3rd win of the year.
Dustin, man, are you going to make it a clean sweep?
No.
Oh.
No, I am not going to make it a clean sweep. The Jets will win this game. It's going to be an ugly game, guys.
Yes.
Browns grounded by Jets, flight delayed until further notice.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah,
Wow.
Ground stopped.
Nothing worse than being stuck on the plane and then you're grounded. So that's what's going to happen this weekend, and it's just there's going to be a lot of calls for Shedeur next week.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
If they lose this game, you're absolutely right about that.
Especially coming home against Baltimore, like it's going to happen. Dustin, I'm glad that you went before me because you and I have complete opposite headlines.
Okay.
You said Jets grounded. I had a first-class upgrade for the offense.
First-class upgrade,
Browns
baby.
offense takes off
What?
for Cleveland standards,
Okay.
and I want to make that a very significant part under Tommy Rees in a 2017 win over the Jets. I don't expect grandiose things, but taking off for Cleveland standard is 4 scoring drives. And I got 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals happening for the Browns. And I got them winning to improve to 3-6 on the season.
Man, listen, you know what? We don't really have a clean sweep all the time. So I'm glad at least one of us, because now we might be looking kind of crazy right now. This is a game where next week, if you want to watch the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, either we're going to have some false sense of security or we're going to say the whole world is coming down, tumbling on us, because it's going to look bad if they take this L, especially this week coming up against the Jets. So we'll see how it plays out.
The post-game show will be miserable on Sunday if they lose.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Yeah, speaking of, make sure you watch the 2-minute warning coming up at the 2-minute warning of the Jets and Browns game. Myself, Mikey McNuggets, Earl the Pearl, we will be breaking down whatever forensics we can from this game. And we'll be talking about this win or loss, given what the Cleveland Browns are going to do. But I tell you what, guys, really quickly, Kevin Stefanski, there's a lot of things going around. We didn't even talk about DePodesta in this episode.
Go back and watch a YouTube show. We spent a ton of time.
We spent a whole lot of time talking about that, and obviously that'll play a big role into what we talk about next week, given the fact if they win or lose and how that plays a role. You might start hearing names. People mention names, McNuggets, about guys that are taking positions, AB, Kevin Stefanski. It's the biggest soap opera for any 2-6 team in the world. Get your popcorn ready to go.
It never ends, and we'll see you at the 2-minute warning show on Sunday. For G. Bush, for Dustin Fox.